Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it's time to go into the new Protectors of Peace. God, I don't know what I want to do to shorten that, but Protectors of Peace beatdown battle with the free-to-play dupes of Geld on the line. Geld, I think, is actually a pretty solid free-to-play unit. He is a tiny bit restricted with his orb change, but his second skill giving orbs, that massive skill point increase, I think is going to be really helpful on other teams. So I think he is definitely worth getting the dupes for. We're going to go into EX2. This will be part 1 of 2 because I have like 10 teams or something that I've managed to beat it with, and I'm sure that even more exist. I just, I only have so many videos to put into a clip, or so many clips to put into a video. But quickly going over it, this is a green-focused team, so the 9-head fox, nerfs blues and oranges, and I did not use an orange team here. I did use a few blue teams maybe in the second video. They can certainly get it done, but it does require the Visions of Coleus Rimuru with his rainbow orbs to really get things going. Otherwise, defense, ult resistance on specifically 9-heads, so most of the time you will do less damage to him if you're nuking before turn 8. And then Mirren gives a continuous heal for the first 3 turns, so mainly your first 3 turns you're not actually doing damage because she's healing it all back. She also has synergy resistance for 6 turns, so this stage is actually quite forgiving in the fact that as long as you go to turn 8, you can pretty much nuke with anything. You could do Pierce, you could do Crit, the team wants you to do Crit, and on turn 8, which is traditional nuke turns for stacking teams, you can use Synergy. You don't really want to use it before that, but you can certainly go to turn 8, and then the Synergy resistance will fall off. She has everyone has Magic resistance until turn 8, and then Guard Power, and Self-Taunt happens a little later, and then Adelman, Fire Attack, Chance to Burn, Binds sometimes. This stage really isn't super difficult. They have less HP than last month's EX2 beatdown battle by about 100k, 541 for him. So as long as you build a pretty complete team with decent supports and orb changers, either for blues or greens, primarily greens, this stage will be fairly simple and straightforward. Alright, first up, we're going to be using the meta team, the Protectors of Peace, Masayuki, Geld, Rimuru. We're going to bring collab Idolmaster Mirai and collab Overlord Shizu. If you don't have access to them, Mirai you could replace with almost any other support. Like Octagram Lumi will work fine. Overlord Shizu is going to be a lot harder to replace because we don't have a lot of green ult swappers. You could certainly use the Masked Hero, the light one, or you could use Idol Shuna. They just won't be as good. And then, actually, Warrior's Mind Lumi going to see a bit of a renaissance here. She gives physical buff, and on turn 8 lowers crit resistance on the enemy, which Rimuru's critting, so she's going to be very, very impactful. So, turn 1, we have no way to change it. We didn't bring an orb changer. Well, actually, no, we did. Sorry, I lied. What am I talking about? Geld. Geld is the orb change. We're using skill point units, so we can have 42 skill points in turn 1, so we can use both of Geld's skills, his orb change and first stack of his green buff, so we get a lot of points in the first couple stages of the fight. This team with Mirai now, who's guaranteeing future hands of green orbs, means that we don't really have a lot of RNG past turn 3. Because turn 2, we do need a bit of luck to be able to convert into another hand, or just burn these oranges, it doesn't matter. But we're going to use her future hand, which means every turn after this, guaranteed green orbs. And her live mode is stacking attack for every green orb that we send. Bride Soka also does the same thing with the future hand of green, so she is certainly an option to bring if you don't have Mirai. If you don't want to bring Mirai or Soka, then you could just use a traditional green orb changer, or bring some other kind of support buffer. Again, this stage is very versatile and will allow you to bring a number of different characters without really feeling heavy restrictions. And it also really doesn't hit for shit. If they're doing 1 damage, they're going to continue to do 1 or under 100 damage or something pretty much the entire fight. So you're not really in danger of dying at all, which is great. So now that we've got future hands of greens, now we've got ults for people, it's time to bring Shizu in, and we will ult swap. And that's pretty much the entire fight now. We'll use a stack of the weakness strike on Rimuru. We didn't need to orb change with him, but I'd like to get some extra weakness strike just for funsies onesies. And this is the fight. So I don't think we need to sit here for another 6 minutes watching us stack for another 5 turns. It's just stack on Rimuru, get some buffs, orb change with green, future hand of green, something, use the protector, and then on turn 8, once all of their defense and all the resistances fall off, then you nuke. So because Masayuki is resetting, our orb changes, our future hand, our live mode for Mirai is always constantly at the lowest cost. And it's very simple. So let's skip ahead to turn 7. Okay. So we've taken out quite a bit of HP on Adelman. We've been stacking the weakness strike down from Geld's skill on him the entire time. So he's going to take a lot more damage on the nuke than all the other characters are. But we're going to do way too much damage anyways. So it doesn't really matter. But this is the nuke turn. We see that all of their defense, their magic resistance, their synergy resistance, all of it is gone on turn 8, which is great. So now we'll bring Lumi in, and we'll use all 3 buffs. 1, 2, 3. We still have 105 points left over, so we can, after we use Masayuki one more time, even use the weakness strike orb change for Rimuru. Maybe one more time. Yeah, one more time maybe. Or we can use the live mode. Or we can do both, actually, because we'll have the points for it. So we'll get an extra 2, 4, 6, 8% attack, and then 10% weakness strike, and that's all the points we'll have. And then that green damage up, sure, whatever. I don't think I send the green orbs. But here we go. 1, 2, oh, I do. Okay. Well, let's see how much damage we do here. 198k, so almost 200, and then 406, and 9 heads dead. Okay, well, that's cool. And Rimuru does 3.5 million. 4 million against Adelman because he has, again, that extra weakness strike down. And yeah, it's pretty simple. So there's the meta team. Totally, the Mirai is very substitutable. Shizu, I mean, is really good for the team. You can swap her out, but it becomes much more difficult. But it is possible. Alright, the second team that I have for you is a World of Fantasy focused team. Protector Frey. Guaranteed crits for physical allies. 40 points every time you use her. Changes 3 oranges and 3 blues to 6 greens, which is the stage wants greens. Very good. And she's giving extra damage for the team versus fire, which we are fighting a fire enemy. So that means both the hero and Shizu are going to do extra damage, which is going to be great. And they're both AoEs. The hero, she has a single alt swap. It's not super great, so that's why we are also bringing Idol Shuna. She's only here for the double alt swap. Like she's not going to give extra synergy power to a physical team, so I'm not even going to use it. I just want a triple alt swap between the hero and Shuna. Wind Lumi is here to convert the hands on turn 1, and then maybe, depending on our luck, we might need her again. Wind Shizu will be our backup AoE or primary AoE, depending on how you want to look at it. She also has a 15% attack skill for all World Fantasy characters, or Fount of Wisdom, which Hero, Shizu, and Rimuru are on those categories. So we can get a little bit of extra stats there, and then Fount of Wisdom Rimuru is strictly here for his physical buff, and his orb change does not mean anything. Alright, so turn 1, we will orb change with Lumi, and then we'll swap Lumi out for... we'll swap Lumi and, I think, Shuna out for Shizu and Rimuru, since they do have protection gauge on turn 2 underneath them. And then we'll just send 6 greens. And that's pretty much going to be the name of the game. It's just that instead of having to RNG it or use a feature hand, we just use our protector to do it. There are other protectors that do also change multiple orbs to greens. Bride, Shizu, Protector Guy, Space Guy. I do use Guy. He'll probably show up in the second part of this series, because I'm running a very weird AoE team with him. But we used Shizu's stack of the attack buff, so everyone up here got an extra 15% attack. And now we'll send 6 greens. We got 100 points now because Frey gave us 40. And now we'll just send it. And that's pretty much the name of the game. And we have an alt for the hero now, which is good. I do want that early. An EX alt with someone is going to be very nice. And that's why I really wanted to bring both the hero and Idol Shuna, so we have the ability to triple alt swap if we need to, which we are going to need to. So we use the hero's alt swap because it's 0 points, it's free. And now we've got a full hand of greens again. We're working towards getting the EX alts for at least the hero. Notice that I'm not bringing a green orb buffer like Isis or Veldora, so there is going to be a point where we don't have access to Frey. If we only send 6 greens, at some point we're going to run out. So let's swap Rimuru out, let's bring Shuna in, double alt swap with her, do another attack stack, and then Frey again, and that's another 6 hands. And this should get us very, very close to the EX alt for the masked hero. So I think, yeah, we're just going to send it. Yeah, very, very close. So I'm fairly confident that with the extra damage buff and the physical buff from Rimuru, that I think these 2 AoE alts can kill without requiring 2 EX alts. I would just very much like one of them. So double alt swap, boom, and then one more stack? No, we don't have enough points for that. Okay, so Frey, there you go. Now we have enough points for it. And now we can get the EX alt with the hero. We might actually even get it for Shizu. Oh yeah, okay, we do. Alright, well that certainly works too. That gives us a Frey, which means that we can do guaranteed crits next turn. We have an extra 40 points in the back pocket. So now we can bring Fount of Wisdom Rimuru in, and we can just kill now. Or if you are, if you don't have 2 EX ults, you can just stall for another 2 turns, wait for their defense to go away, and then you could ult. That's certainly something too. But we're going to do it now, because we've got the power. We've also got the ult with Rimuru, who's going to have crits and physical buff. So let's lower their resistance a bit with the masked hero, just so we can do an extra bit of damage with all 3 of these elements. And then we'll send Rimuru first, because he lowers defense on his ult, and then we'll follow up. 61k, not a lot. 243, really good. And 259, really good. So yeah, 3 ults there was not enough to just straight up kill, because they have that extra defense. So if you're running this team and your units are not quite as buffed as mine, it might be worth just waiting out the turns to turn 8, letting their defense fall off, and then nuking. And that gives you a few extra turns to try and get EX ults, and it makes them easier to kill, because you're not in danger of dying here. They don't do damage to you. So it's perfectly okay to just wait it out. Alright, the next team is going to be a Exalted Champions / Primal Demon team. We've got Velzard, Veldora, and Guy. He's going to be our primary DPS character. We've also got Idol Shuna, and I brought her solely for her double alt swap. We don't need it. This slot is free to use. It means nothing. We're not going to use her synergy power, because we are already getting it from Guy, and her alt swap, we just don't use. So don't worry about it if you don't have Idol Shuna. This slot, you could make it empty for all I care. But we are going to bring Violet, and we are going to bring Jean, because we're going to use Violet's magic buff and hold it on Guy. And then, because we're going to hold points and not use any, we actually, on turn 8, will have enough points to use both of Jean's skills. So we're going to get 170% alt damage for Guy, and space resistance down, which will also help Guy because he's space. But this team is just turtling for 5 turns, essentially. So let's just jump in, and we'll go into turn 1, and we'll bring Guy in, and then we'll use Veldora's Orb Change. Perfect. Alright, free and easy. You just need them in the specific 2 slots right here to make that work, and then we'll send 6 greens. And then after this, next turn, we're going to have, 115 points or something like that? We're going to use the Alt Rush for Guy and the green buff for Veldora. And that will give both Guy and Violet their alts. And because we have 3 orbs for Violet, we're actually going to get her EX alt, which is cool. We don't need it. So here, yeah, 115. We'll use the Alt Rush, because they're both space. And then we'll use the green buff, so that these green orbs are going to give us a lot. The charm I'm running is Protection on greens. Honestly, I don't think we need it. This team is probably the most free and easy. It just, you have to wait. So here, we have 2 EX alts now with both Guy and Violet. So this turn, we're going to use both Magic buff and Synergy buff. And then we're going to send both of them to the back, and then we're going to wait to turn 8. And we're going to send... We're not going to use any skills whatsoever, because I need the full 160 points that we're going to get from the next 2 turns of having Velzard just give it to us free and easy, and that will cap us out at 160, which means that we will have enough to use both of Jean's skills later on in the fight. So here, we're going to be at 100 points. We're going to get the free 30. And then this next turn, don't do anything. Do not use a single skill. Just send orbs. We're not going to do a lot of damage to them regardless because they've been healing for the past 3 turns. It does not matter. You just cannot use any skill points. So here, we'll send this. And then on turn 5, we're going to get that last batch of 30 points from Velzard. And then we wait. And then we literally do not do anything except send a few orbs, maybe try and set up a hand so we have a whole bunch of Guy orbs on turn 8. But 160 points is our cap, and we're going to stay there for another couple of turns. So let's skip ahead to turn 6. Turn 8, here we go. We still have 160 points. We've now set up so we have 5 Shuna orbs that we can then bring Guy in for, and we'll use both of Jean's skills. And we still have 25 points left over, which is great. But this gives Guy 170% ult damage on top of his magic buff, on top of his synergy buff, on top of the element buff from Velzard, and the Drago effect. And this, now that the enemy's synergy resistance and magic resistance are gone, means that we can nuke with Guy, and he's gonna overkill. So we'll send it up, and he does 800k against everybody. It's so simple and easy. Like, it is so very simple, and it doesn't need any RNG, except for maybe turn 2 you get a few Guy orbs. Like, that's it. That's all the RNG you have for this team. So this is a very, very easy to do team. It's not going to do Inferno, but it'll certainly get you those dupes of Geld. Alright, of course, it's a green, long-form fight stage. We're going to bring Vengeance. Free and easy stuff. Velzard. Free to play Sufia because the enemies are fire, so I don't want to bring Aaron, so we're going to bring Sufia instead. Trya, Orb Changing, Yom, Orb Changing Vengeance, Raphael, Vengeance, Isis, Blue Orb Changing, Green Buff. We're going to spend very little time on this because at this point you should understand how Vengeance works, and if you don't, go watch a video with Vengeance in its title and you will very quickly learn how it works. But free and easy. They already do not do a lot of damage to us, so we don't really even need to prioritize Raphael's defensive skills. So if you don't have Raphael and you only have Yom, he's gonna work. Like, this stage is one of those rare times where you do not need Raphael to survive. You just need Vengeance to stack. So if you have Veldora or you have Shuna instead, and you have the free-to-play Yom, they'll work fine. Just put some stacks of Vengeance on, and they will eventually kill themselves. So this is going to go, I think, for 8 turns, because that's how long it takes with the amount of stacks that we can get. They do a lot of AoEs, so as long as they're hitting people with the Velzard Vengeance counterattack buff on, you're going to get a lot of stacks of Vengeance very, very quickly. And you don't even need to use the Seal skill for Raphael, because, again, they don't hit you very hard, right? So if you don't have Trya, you could bring Wind Lumi or something like that. You could bring the free-to-play Tsubasa from the Idolmaster collab if you've got her. Just any green orb changer will do. Veldora works fine. It doesn't matter. As long as you at least have free-to-play Yom, maybe Velzard. If you don't have Velzard, you could use, like, First Anniversary Veldora, Overlord Rimuru. If you have Masayuki, you can certainly use him here too. He's not going to inspire anybody because we're all magic characters, but hey, he's going to raise our cap. So, a number of options. This is the most forgiving stage for Vengeance to run because we are not worried about dying, and as long as you have some stacks of Vengeance, they will eventually kill themselves. If you legitimately only have Yom, you're still going to win. It's just going to take you a really long time because you're not going to stack nearly as quickly as having a whole bunch of other Vengeance characters. But you can do it. So we're on turn 3. We've got 12 stacks already. Let's just skip ahead. We're now on turn 7, and there's 55 stacks of Vengeance. And we've already, cut down their health a bit by the lightning bolts from God. So we'll send these ults, and we'll apply more stacks of Vengeance. We'll send it. This team is so dumb. It's so dumb over a year later. And they're going to be up to... I think they do AoEs here, huh? Yep, there's an AoE. There's 3 stacks. There's 6 stacks. There's 7 stacks. 68 stacks, and they're going to die next turn, no matter what we do. So, congratulations. Vengeance has won the fight. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 74 stacks, and dead, and dead, And dead. There you go. Hooray, Vengeance works. You don't need the entire Vengeance team. Just bring Yom, bring some Orb Changers, bring a Protector that likes green orbs, and you're going to be just fine. Alright, the final team for the video is going to be an Overlord Stern of Spirit team. We've got Rimuru, Nabe, Ainz, Shizu, and then, because the second anniversary Hinata is water and AoE, and on Stern of Spirit, she's going to work very, very well. And she's got her own personal element buff, which will stack alongside Rimuru's element buffs. We've got the alt buff from Milim, we've got guaranteed crits from Ainz, and then we've got the weakness strike alt resistance down from Shizu while triple alt swapping. We've got 2 orb changers, we've got the alt swapping. This team will run very, very efficiently. Alright, so turn 1, we could either use Nabe's orb change or Milim's, like it really doesn't matter depending on who's in the slots. But we're going to use Milim, and then we'll just take Ainz out, we'll bring Hinata in, and we'll send this. And simply, it's just a stacking green team. So 8 turns, you build it up, you get the EX alt for Hinata, and then on turn 8, you're going to use all of the buffs to nuke down. Because this team has an abundance of skill points and is skill resetting, you could, once you get to like turn 4 or 5, when you have a lot of points, and you're getting a lot of points back, you could use the Hinata buff and maybe the Ainz buff for the guaranteed crits multiple turns, because they're getting reset and you're making all those points, so you could do extra damage to the enemies in case you're worried about your damage output for some reason. You know, if you don't have super great gear but you have this team, you could certainly do it, and having extra element damage and extra and guaranteed crits will definitely cut chunks off of their health if you're doing it almost every single turn. It's just, you need to be able to recoup those points by the turn 8. But 1 damage, again, we're not in danger of dying here. You're free to do whatever the hell you want. We have the orb changing from Nabe really working for us. We'll use the Despair skill from Ainz, so we get extra protection gauge for Rimuru, so we can keep stacking. And then we'll use Rimuru to reset, and then we'll bring Shizu in, and we'll alt swap away. And that's the name of the game. So I also don't think we need to sit here for another 5 turns. So we're going to send this, and I guess we'll bring Milim in for some reason. I don't really know. We could have started to use the element buff from Hinata there, because we had 50 points, and we're gonna make 150 points back at least. So we could have done extra damage, but they still have their heal up, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. But now, it is what it is. So let's skip ahead. Let's see. Turn 6. Yeah, let's turn 6. So we've activated the guaranteed crits and the element buff from Hinata. So we're going to do a lot of damage here, and we're going to make it all back anyways. So 14,000, 24,000 a hit with Hinata now. That's pretty good. 52k right there, and they're no longer continuously healing. And because we have the points, and we have Rimuru to reset, we're not in danger of making things overly expensive. So we'll bring Ainz in, we'll use the alt swap because it's 25 points, and then we'll use Rimuru to reset, and then we'll just do it again. And we'll just use the crit and the element buff and Despair, and then we're going to do another 50-something damage on the 200% orb, because we're going to make it back. We have 115 points left over. Next turn is turn 8. We'll send this, and oh, look, we're maxed. 15k, 26k, so we're going to do like 52,000. 54,000. Math is hard. But here we go. We are ready to nuke. We have the EX alt for Hinata, who's AoE and water. She's been getting stacks from Rimuru, getting the magic, the element buffs. So now we'll use Ainz for the guaranteed crits. We'll bring Milim in for Ainz. We'll give Hinata the 70% alt buff and another stack of Rimuru, so that's another 10% element. And then we'll use her own element, which is 50%, which stacks alongside it. And then we'll just use all these skills because, hey, why not? And then we'll go ahead and nuke. And that'll be the end of this video. This, again, is part 1. I will have another video with more teams to do it that are different. But she does almost 1 million to them, and they only have like half of that. So, but yeah, 5 teams to clear it. I'll have 5 more teams tomorrow that are not these in any way, shape, or form. They'll be very vastly different. But let me know what you guys think. If you have any other teams that you've used to clear this that I did not show today, and maybe I didn't show tomorrow either, let me know in the comments. That way other people can see that and take it on. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.